start on your backs today. And let's take your one blanket and let's roll it up into a nice long cylinder. We'll set it long ways at the back of the mat. We'll be able to settle feet into the ground. Pull the blanket all the way up to the base of the spine. And you can roll the spine. Make sure everything's nice and even. You aren't slipping or falling off the blanket. Let the arms fall open, whether you want to cactus the arms for a little bit more chest opening, if you want to relax them next to your sides. Feet can be together in Baddha Konasana, or if you want to cross the legs or lengthen them. We'll let the spine settle down against your blanket. Let the shoulder blades fall on either side. Close the eyes here. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, let that breath go. Take another breath in. Open mouth, release. And seal your lips. Inhale through the nose. Gentle exhale out the nose. Let your chest fall open, shoulder blades drop back down toward the floor. Notice how your body reacts to the breath here. If you are getting stuck on the inhale, maybe it's feeling a little tight in the chest. How does your body react when you finally let that breath go? And as you exhale, see if you can fully empty the lungs. We're getting full, deep breaths moving in and out of the body. And hopefully with each exhale, you're feeling a little bit more release, a sense of letting go, relaxation. Today I was assigned as a scribe to one of the nurses giving the vaccine. And every once in a while, you see somebody walking up to the table. They're kind of hunched at the shoulders, they're very timid. They're staring at the floor, at their feet, and kind of shuffled up, and they just look so nervous. And as soon as they get seated, the nurse is talking chit chat. How are you? How are you feeling? And you can already tell from the body language that they're feeling very anxious about getting a shot. And they're scared of needles, or they just feeling kind of anxious about getting a vaccine in general. And when they get that kind of tensed up feel in their body, that stance, what she does is really just try to relax them down by telling them to take deep breaths. We know this from yoga, that deep breaths work, especially that exhale. That exhale is connected to our parasympathetic nervous system. It helps relax things. So before she even gets to doing the shot with them, she's talking them through it. This is what's going to happen. You want to relax your arm, and then right before she gets going with the 2 seconds that it takes to put the shot in, she says, take a deep breath. And then blow it out like you're trying to blow up a balloon. And in that big exhale is when she'll do the quick jab in. She puts the medicine in, and they're done. And every person that had come up looking so nervous, looking so anxious, having that hunched over stance, they were like, I felt nothing. And we were talking about it afterward. I've got kids who are very anxious about getting shots anytime they go visit the doctor. She said, yeah, the deep breaths really works. Talking about imagery, what color of a balloon are you blowing out? Are we blowing up a blue balloon, red one, a yellow one? And I just thought that's so connected to what we practice in our yoga, that we use the breath in such a way to have all these other effects in the mind and in the body. So if at any point in our practice, or even when you leave the mat today, if you're having those kind of shallow breaths where your body's in that protective stance, it's just feeling a little nervous, a little nerve-wracking, think about taking those deep breaths. Think about gathering your courage or whatever that is at the inhale and blowing out the exhale. And this nurse, she's retired now. She's worked for 30 years and was given hundreds of thousands of shots in her lifetime. She said it works every time. There's no way for them to tense up their muscles when they do that big exhale. So we're going to give ourselves that space, that depth of the breath to coax the rest of our body along, to get our bodies and our minds to relax in such a way that you can't do any other way. It's really hard to force your body to relax. So when we bring the breath into that equation, everything is so connected that there's no way that you can stay tense when you finally let go of the breath. Take about 5 more breaths here. Now let's bring the arms into cactus if you're not already there. Bending at the elbows, letting the backs of the hands fall to the floor behind you. Feel as you breathe in, the back body presses against the blanket, giving a little more lift, opening the chest. And then we'll stretch everything long. Arms long, legs long. Move through the fingers, the wrists, toes, ankles. Take that full body stretch. And we'll start to curl the knees into the body. Roll over to your left, coming into fetal position. Give yourself a moment here. And then gently press your way up. And find a comfortable cross-legged seat of your choice. Allow for the body to be nice and tall here. Roll the shoulders a couple times. Pull the shoulder blades back, drop them down, soften the elbows. The hands will come back a little bit more onto the thighs. And then we're going to drop your chin down towards your chest. Feel a stretch in the back of the neck. And if this leg positioning isn't working, you can always tuck some support underneath the legs, or you could do this from a kneeling position. As long as the spine stays long, the head is heavy, you should start to feel that stretch in the neck. And then we're going to gently roll the right ear over toward the right shoulder. And then roll the chin back through center. Over to the other side, left ear toward the left shoulder. And bring it back through center. So keep moving here at your own pace. And if you notice a spot that needs a little extra time, feel free to explore before going back through center to the other side. And if you notice your shoulders start to collapse or cave, readjust so that you can keep the spine long. Allow the full weight of your head to bring you into these neck stretches. And make sure you do one more to the right and one more to the left. And bring your head back through center. Let's roll over your knees, coming to a hands and knees position. Spread the fingers wide. When you're ready, we'll start to take our cows and our cats, dropping the belly, opening the chest as you inhale, moving through the spine nice and slow as you come into your exhale. One more round here. Coming back to a neutral spine, we're going to bring your left forearm parallel to the front of your mat. Start to crawl your right fingers forward. Your forehead can rest against your left arm. Now really allow for the heart and the belly to sink down. That's really where you're going to start to feel that stretch in the right upper shoulder, into the back, into the side. One more breath in. And then we'll press back up to hands and knees. Let's do the other side. Right forearm parallel to the front of the mat. Crawl your left fingers forward. Rest your forehead against your right arm. And then we'll let the heart and the belly sink down toward the floor. You can really start to play with this left hand to see how far you need it to get as much sensation as you need through this left side. One more breath here. We'll bring it back to hands and knees. Let's thread the needle from here. Left hand will stay down. Open your right arm up. Take it all the way through. Let your ear, your shoulder melt into the floor. Drag that left hip back a little. Keep this a little softer, a little less work. Left forearm can be here for support. And no hard pushing or pulling here. Allow the body to settle into the twist. Use your left hand for support. Press back into the floor. Open the right arm up. To the other side. Left arm sweeps up. Take it all the way through. Let that right hip drag back a little. Use your right arm just for some support here. Gravity will do the rest, and follow the breath. Press your right hand back into the floor. Take your left arm up. And then exhale to release. We're going to bring your knees together. Big toes together, and then you're going to tuck your toes underneath you. We're going to lean back, hips to the heels. And you can walk this back any amount. And it doesn't have to stay static. If you're feeling super tight in the bottoms of the feet and in the calves, you might just gently rock forward and back. Or you might give it a little side to side. We'll give this a few breaths to stretch out the arches. Feel this at the back of the ankle, the heel, into the calves. And just get yourself to a place where you're feeling maybe 70% of sensation. We don't ever want to overdo it. We'll allow for your body to gently open when it's ready. Take 2 more breaths here. And we'll rock back to hands and knees so you can release the toes. You can tap them out. Or if you want a little counter stretch, you keep the toes pointing back. Just stretch into the tops of the ankles. We're going to come to a seat from here. So swing your legs around. And we'll take the right leg out about 45 degrees. Bring your left foot in. And use the hands and turn the chest towards your left knee. Try to keep this right hip nice and planted. Your toes are going to stay up to the sky. Sometimes it has a tendency to kind of roll. So just make sure that we're leaving that nice and neutral coming up. So it's just a fold or lean over that left knee. And keep an eye on this right hip. As soon as it starts to lift on you or the foot wants to collapse, we need to make some adjustments. So driving that right sits bone back into the floor, starting to get a little bit of lean or fold. You might feel this in your inner right thigh. You might even wrap into the right hip, on the inner side of the hip joint. Three more breaths in. Come back up to your seat. We're going to keep the chest turned to the left. Slide this right arm on the inside of the leg. Turn the chest open. And we'll reach your left arm past the top of your head toward those right toes. And then we're going to make this a little more passive. So once you kind of find where your starting point is, about 70% sensation, you might bend your right elbow, make a little head rest with a fist, and then drape this left arm over the head. Keep your left sits bone connected into the floor. And you're going to use your breath here. That inhale might get you a little bit more length. Your exhale, a little more relaxation downward. And as we open this left side of the body, notice where in your body is fighting the opening. Sometimes the right side will start to tense up. Sometimes it might show up in the right thigh or in the right hip. And just give ourselves room to let go, relax, lengthen. If you are getting any kind of weird imbalances along the spine, say you tend to sleep on one side of the body, left side or right side, you might feel those in the spine or along the spine. And these kind of long held side stretches might unleash them. One last breath here. Remove the left arm out of the way first. And gently press back up. Ooh, I can feel my back popping. I'm going to stay in center for a moment. Let any lingering sensations on that left side settle in. And start to switch up the legs. And then the right leg, bend your left. Bring that right foot into the inner left thigh. Start to turn the torso to your right knee. Get this left sit bone firmly connected into the floor. Only then start to lean over this right knee or start to take it into a fold. Focusing a little bit more on the stretch in the inner left thigh and wrapping around the hip joints. A little less about finding that length through the spine. One more breath here. And bring ourselves back up. Keep the chest turned to the right. We're going to use that left arm inside of the leg. Give us a little bit more rotation and length. When you're ready, we'll take that right arm over towards your left toes. And we'll make this a little bit more passive. You can bend that right elbow, allow for the arm to drape on top. And if this feels too low, you're always welcome to add a little something under the left elbow, blanket, block, cushion, anything to give it a little more height. One more deep breath here. Move your right arm out of the way. Slowly stacking the spine vertically again. Take a few breaths here. And we'll bring the feet together into Baddha Konasana. Let your knees open out. We'll use the hands to open the feet like a book. Inhale, get nice and long. Exhale, start to fold any amount. Especially if you're feeling really tight through the hips, you don't even need to add a fold. You can just work the opening of the hips while sitting upright. One more breath here. And we'll come all the way back up. And let's get onto our bellies. So take your blanket and we'll leave it in a roll. And we'll kind of play with this. Sometimes a roll feels a little too intense. We're going to be coming into a Sphinx pose, but we're going to use the roll to give us a little lift right around where your ribs are, so that the blanket does some of this work of opening the chest without having to do a lot of extra press through the arms. And then allowing for the belly to rest against that blanket. You're actually adding a little bit of compression and help our digestive system this way. So we'll keep the arms parallel to each other, palms into the ground. If you start to feel your shoulders kind of collapsing into the neck, that's when you'll give it just a little bit of press through those elbows and forearms. Take one more breath here. Move this blanket out from underneath. Come all the way down. You can stack the palms, let the head rest. And let's press back to child's pose. Knees can be together or knees apart, your choice. Go ahead and press back up. We're going to swing the legs around so that you can lie down onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest once you get there. Give yourself a gentle rock. All right, if you're needing a hip opener at this point in time, I'm going to give you two options to play with. Option A is our figure four. We've done this many times before, just crossing right ankle over left thigh. You can draw the legs in if you wish. Option B is to cross this right knee all the way over so that your knees are stacked in a line. And you're going to grab for shins, ankles, feet. Feet go out to the side. So it's a little more intense. If none of those sound like a good idea, you can come into more of a resting pose, or if you want to come into a supported bridge, feel free to grab something for under the hips. Release the legs, bring them onto your mat, about mat's width distance. Gently windshield wiper your knees side to side. And coming into the other side, either a figure four, crossing left leg over, or coming into, it's basically like a reclined cow face pose. Knees are in the same line, feet go wide. And gently release the legs. Again, we'll bring the feet back to the floor, windshield wiper the knees side to side. And then we'll hug the knees back in. Take a little bit of a rock side to side. Feeling for the low back to release down into the ground. Extend your left leg long, hug your right knee in, give it a tight squeeze. When you're ready, you'll move your right knee across over to the left. You're gonna add a little cushion here to bring it onto that blanket. Shift your hips to the right a little. Allow for the body to open. Let's start to bring this leg back through center. Reset the hips. Hug your right knee in one more time. And then we'll switch the legs. Right leg long, left knee in. Give it a tight squeeze. When you're ready for the turn, move your knee across over to the right. Shift your hips over to the left. Give yourself plenty of room here. And then once you get set up into your twist, start using those exhales again. Allow them to fully release the body downward, relieving any tension that may be stuck in the hips, through the belly, through the low back. Bring everything back through center. Maybe set the hips with your left knee one more squeeze in. We'll bring your legs into happy baby. Just holding onto the knees, outside to the ribs. Take any final little movements that you need. When you're ready to set up for Shavasana, you're welcome to use any support underneath the body. If you want to roll a blanket under the knees or under the thighs, it's a nice option. I'm going to go full on blanket cover today. And if you have a weighted blanket, even better. Kind of hard to maneuver once you're settled on the ground. Get yourselves situated. And give yourself space. Feet flop open. Shoulder blades flattening down. Arms away from the body. Rock your head a little side to side, relieving any tension that might still be stuck in the back of the neck. And then we'll let the skull lay heavily onto the ground. Take 3 cleansing breaths here. Nice full inhale through your nose. Big exhale, blow it out. Do that again, big breath in. Release. Last one, fill all the way up. And let everything go. Start to bring awareness back to the breath. Wake up the fingers, the toes, the wrists, and the ankles. Reach the arms overhead, full body stretch. Yawn and move your jaw around. Draw the knees into the chest, roll to your left, coming into fetal position. Give yourself a few breaths on your side. Letting your head be the last thing to rise, press your way up to a comfortable seat. Sit tall through the spine, relax the shoulders down. We'll bring palms to touch at heart center. We'll seal our practice with a single Om. Start with a full breath in through your nose. Sigh that breath out. Inhale the chant. Namaste. Hopefully everyone's feeling pretty good.